Hey guys, and welcome. I'm a Rubber Duck of War, but today we're going to be focusing on a replay sent in by the legendary Lenorm of Clan DBD. We're going to be taking place on the Watcher's Ruins in this land battle between Tzeentch and Grand Cathay. Should be a good, fun scrap, and I think it's also a fantastic showcase of some of the best cavalry in the game, arguably the best cavalry in the game, in my humble little duck opinion. And by that, do I mean they're as cool as the Bear Cav? Certainly not. Are they my favourite cavalry? No, that would of course be the Mighty Bear Cavalry, but they are pretty damn good, and that is the Chaos Knights of Tzeentch. With their shields and cycle charge potential, the Chaos Knights do devastating damage. They are pretty damn powerful with some amazing durability, good synergy with their Lord as well, who can cast regrowth on them, and they look pretty damn badass in their blue colour scheme. 2 units of them waiting in deep reserve. Their main job today is going to be to cycle charge the enemy and get in their backline, but likewise protect the backline of Tzeentch, which is going to be double blue horrors as well as one of the pink horrors in the middle as well. So not going too expensive on range, but a decent enough punch to be supported, and a problem for Grand Cathay, particularly if they bring the nasty Terracotta Sentinels. These guys will rip them to shreds in a matter of moments. We have Chaos Furies up in the skies, a bucket ton of them. Looks like 4 units can be fantastic harass Cathay, Tender, Onion, or Box build in land battles, and of course Furies will be really good at shutting them down. Quite a big fan as well of the front line here with Forsaken, kind of dribbled all the way along here. 1, 2, 3, 4 units. Again, with their shields, they're pretty durable. The crossbow fire of the mighty Grand Cathay army, which would normally be quite good against Forsaken. And they should have enough about them to chew through Jade Warriors and Peasant Longspearmen relatively quickly. For the Lord, we do have the 2-headed Duck Meister himself, Chaos Fatewave, one of my favourite Lords in the game, and not just because he was modelled clearly off me, but also the fact, he is quite powerful badass. And it looks like we are not bringing the OP Pendulum, which is certainly a nice change of pace here. We do have the Oracle of Eternity, as well as a Gaze of Fate. The spells, we come in with Regrowth and Blue Fire of Tzeentch, 2 very powerful spells. That Regrowth, alongside those Chaos Knights, is going to make them practically unkillable there. So pretty cool combination of this build indeed. Looks like no units in Vanguard or anything fancy like that. The forces of Grand Cathay, they've gone incredibly wide and mid-tier to cheap infantry. This is how you're going to see Cathay played 9 times out of 10. We have a load of Jade Warriors in the front line. Should be able to hold back the Forsaken for a decent amount of time, at least compared to the Peasants, who are currently guarding the wings there, alongside some Jade Halberds who are in the reserve pocket. In the central force, we have Jade Warrior Crossbowmen dotted all the way along with their shields as well. And in the back, we have the Crane Gunners. Crane Gunners, basically Warp Lord Giselles, very powerful units in general. Particularly squishy, though. If you can bring any range pressure on them, any combat pressure, they will go down very, very fast. So they do need to be protected. But they look so badass. I love the design of the barrel with the dragon head on the end. It does certainly kind of tickle my fancy there and be pretty awesome. With a couple units of Peasant Horsemen in the back, just looks like 2. Again, they're not really going to be looking to push into the enemy back line. Their main job is to help protect their range core, which is crucial to victory here for Grand Cathay. We also have Miao Ying, the Storm Dragon, coming into action, bringing a decent number of spells here, actually. She does have Missile Mirror. I don't think it's going to be the best against Tzeentch. We'll have to see. I suppose against Flamers, the Flamers probably would kill themselves. So it's a relatively cost-effective way of countering Flamers if they do indeed see them, and Flamers can be pretty damn powerful. So they are a common pick. We have Talons of the Night, we have Earthblood, as well as, of course, the Transformation of the Dragon and Wrath of the Storm. I do not believe you can turn those off. You have to bring them in action. Without further ado, let's get this battle underway. Pretty cool looking map. I mean, it's relatively basic in the middle, just a nice flat open terrain, but elsewhere, it looks pretty damn beautiful, as we can see the Tzeentch magic swirling around in the sky, and also the storm is coming as the Storm Dragon summons it to help shroud her troops and hopefully bring pain to the enemy. Crossbowmen do start unleashing hell upon the Forsaken all the way across the front line. You can see their shields do take the majority of the damage. You definitely want to focus fire Tzeentch as much as physically possible to mitigate that shield prowess and power. Looks like Forsaken taking pretty heavy casualties on the way in. They are now going to crash into the Jade Warriors, who actually get buffed up in the front. Should be able to do a decent job taking on the enemy, but Forsaken elsewhere in the battlefield going to do a nice work, as we can see the flyers do descend down, and those poor Crane Gunners get instantly jumped as the Horsemen are spread thin, trying to protect the Crossbowmen at all costs. They're a much more durable unit, and probably a better chance of saving them than the Crane Gunners. We do see the Chaos Fate Weaver is popping up into the sky. Imagine if you had a pendulum right now. This front line would already be broken. The Peasant Horsemen are driving back. The Nasty Furies getting a little bit ahead of themselves, but they could try to capitalize on this mistake, actually jump on top of the Blue Horrors in the back here. Likewise, Miao Ying and the Jade Warriors push directly through the front charge, overwhelm the Forsaken, and just keep going that momentum onto the Pink Horrors. They are unfortunately taking a crossfire from both the Blue Horrors on both sides, but hey, they can shut down the Pink Horrors. It might just be worth it if Miao Ying can get out and escape. Likewise, we have more Jade Warriors starting to overlap. They can now move in and apply a bit of pressure to this back line. And in the main fight, it's not going terrible, Cathay. The Forsaken are actually losing a lot of the frontline engagements because of the crossbow pressure early on. It looks like the Furies are slowly getting pushed back and driven away. Frank Gunners have been summoned once more. We do get a relatively decent class by Miao Ying. As you can see, the Dragon's Talons ripping and tearing into those who would worship the false Chaos Gods. But it's, Forsaken take decent damage. The Chaos Knights, I love it. They just tank it, of course, and float away. I believe they did get a hasty regrowth as well, as they are desperately falling back in an attempt to protect the blue and pink horrors, which is definitely a good play. Big miss micro coming in by the Grand Cathay player, though. Jade Warriors seem to be just idle on the flank, and they need to get activated and push into the enemy back line. But it is now a little bit too little too late, as Chaos Knights of Tzeentch have pulled back and can, of course, assert dominance in the back line district of the battle, and there are even more Chaos Knights there. There is no way these pink and blue horrors are going to be going down now. Miao Ying does transform into the mighty Storm Dragon herself, looking to hunt down Chaos Fate Weaver and drive him from the battlefield. Unfortunately, not really going to be able to catch him. He's a rather tricky customer, particularly with his pins. He can continue just to leave Miao Ying flying around the battlefield. Halberds are holding back the Forsaken and beating them back. Jade Warrior Crossbowmen are starting to be overwhelmed now. It looks like the Chaos Furies have really got the number of Grand Cathay and are just ripping into them really badly right now. Halberds are going to come back and support. The Mighty Dragon, unfortunately, has been pinned in place. We'd love to see a Talons down on these Furies to get rid of them, because they're causing a lot of problems for the back line of Grand Cathay. Chaos Fate Weaver, they took a little damage, but his shield will recover. Peasant Horseman going to be used chase off Forsaken as a good play here. Halberds are shining down at blue horrors in the back. Likewise, pink horrors have been jumped by Peasant Horsemen. However, there's some nasty knights around. The Chaos Knights, who are receiving a regrowth right now, could pop back here and save the pink horrors relatively comfortably and easily. Miao Ying flying around up to no good, starting trouble in the Tzeentch neighborhood. We can see Forsaken and more Chaos Furies slowly going down here. The halberd pressure is pretty nice. The Jade Warrior Crossbowman, though, may go down beforehand. Though it looks like they will be saved, which could prove quite pivotal in the late game. 2 units have indeed been kept alive. Blue Horrors unleashing a torrent of damage onto the Jade Warriors, and you can see now Chaos Knights are forced back, forced off the Peasant Horsemen, saving once again the Pink Horrors, who are relatively healthy for the latter stages of the battle here. Blue Horrors moving to engage in hand-to-hand combat. They may have ranged attacks and very powerful ones, but they are actually a melee unit as they charge in with the help of the Furies. You can see Chaos Fate Weaver flying high in the skies, continuing his attempted escape from Miao Ying, the mighty Storm Dragon, who's trying to dominate the skies and unfortunately failing. We're going to get quite a nice Talons go down, catching out the Forsaken as well as some Blue Horrors. Blue Horrors can take a lot of damage on their shield, though. Forsaken probably going to shatter here, and it looks like the Blue Horrors do take considerable damage. Cathay have managed to stabilize a little bit in the back. We have the double Jade Warrior Crossbowmen protected by the Halberds doing a decent job. Blue Horrors, just quite comfortably fending off the Halberds, but now there's double Chaos Knight just slamming either side into them. Oh my god. One way there is death, the other way is death. The only thing those Halberds could do would take their own lives to save themselves the torment of Tzeentch. Furies do jump down on the Jade Warriors, attempting to do some decent damage. The Pink Horrors are about to be jumped by some Jade Warriors who have rallied and regained their confidence by Miao Ying screaming a bloody dragon cry at her. If they don't come back, we're going to eat you for supper. And it looks like, though, the Chaos Knights will answer them steel on steel and simply send the Jade Warriors flying. And even if the Chaos Knights don't get the most damage, their disruption is second to none, due to the fact they can recharge those shields pretty powerfully. Pink Horrors are going to try to maybe engage the Jade Warriors here, but it looks like they're going to get one last volley of Plasma Granadas going into the Jade Warriors, forcing them back, and it looks like the other Halberds are pushing in. Yin and Yang is in effect right now, buffing their leadership and melee defense. You can see the Jade Warrior Crossbowmen also getting that buff, increasing their leadership and reload skill. Leadership's not great on range units, but hey, reload skill is fantastic. And they are pouring on pretty thick as they make a desperate last stand. Miao Ying's still alive, and as long as she lives, Grand Cathay shall fight and stand. And the Crossbowmen are focused down the Pink Horrors. I think this is a big mistake. They have to take out those Chaos Knights. Pink Horrors, they can easily be killed by Miao Ying in the late game. The Chaos Knights, not so much. Halberds are starting to push in, and also being used relatively well to protect the back line here. Purple and Forsaken are chasing the Halberds. Probably want to whip around instead and hunt down the Crossbowmen. We have Jade Warriors rallying, and some more Crossbowmen as well. So it's certainly not over yet. In fact, Cathay certainly could bring the pain, but they have to take out these Chaos Knights, and they have to take them out now, realistically, if they want a hot chance of winning. Crossbow them, Talons them, destroy them with a dragon, do whatever you can. Now, Chaos Fate Weaver is having to get his little ducky hands a bit dirty and does jump down on the Jade Warriors. Looks like he was attempting to cast a spell there. There's going to be a regrowth go down on the Chaos Knights, and it's so rough. There's only a few Jade Warriors left holding this down, and yeah, the Crossbowmen are getting overwhelmed. Chaos Knights stream downhill, trying to embody the spirit of King Theoden, leading the charge of the Rohirrim. And it's going to have a similar effect. They're just simply going to run over the infantry of the enemy. Jade Warriors breaking and routing for the hills. They didn't sign up for this. They signed up for a nice peaceful venture into Chaos Wastes, not this nasty death and destruction. Chaos Knights, give me that regrowth, looking very healthy so far. Got a decent number of halberds left alive, though. 89 halberds and 108 is certainly no joke. And if we can get Miao Ying fighting on top of them, which you can now do easily because you can land flying troops, you know, there's certainly still a decent pocket of resistance here for Grand Cathay. That balance of power, though, is still slightly in favour of Tzeentch, and I'd probably agree with that. We have a lot of Furies left on the field who can still bomb down and engage the enemy, and Chaos Knights are going to jump the Jade Warrior crossbow and just get them off the field. Looks like we now have a big beam of death summoned in by Tzeentch. It's a really good play. Bunch up your enemy. Grand Cathay aren't quick enough to dodge this type of attack either. Looks like some Furies may be kind of caught in the crossfire as well. Yeah, they took a few hits, but hey, it's only on shield, so what does that matter? And it looks like the crossbowmen will be going down, and the Jade Warrior halberds taking a bucket ton of damage. They desperately attempt to escape, but alas, it is too much for the Jade Warriors. They've had enough of their bloodshed for one day. Fate Weaver is being attacked by Miao Ying, but there's just no chance Miao Ying is going to be able to actually kill Fate Weaver here. So I think this is a waste of an attack. Go over and finish off the Knights instead and come back and deal Fate Weaver when they have nowhere else to run. Chaos Furies are flapping around in the wing, just doing some decent damage to Jade Warriors, but fall back once halberds do start to assert their dominance once more. And it looks like all the crossbowmen are being shattered here, which is a disaster for Grand Cathay. Still one unit left, but not much to protect them with. Two units of halberds, I guess, against two units of knights, you would think would favour the halberds, but hey, this is Tzeentch, and they've always got a trick or two up their sleeve. Looks like a big beam of death is going to come in. The blue fires Tzeentch onto Miao Ying, doing decent damage. She does get magic resistance, I believe, like a fair amount of it. So it's not going to be at the end of the world there. Yeah, 25% spell resistance is pretty tasty. Chaos Knights do come with a charge. They're going to be cycle charging like their lives depend on it, and that's because their lives do indeed depend on it. In the Jade Warriors, as well as the halberds. Of course, these guys are all getting the harmony bonuses, which is quite tasty. Halberds are attempting to destroy the Chaos Knights while supported by Miao Ying, who is going to transform into human form, probably out of Winds of Magic for the Talons and wants to pop some Earth Bloods and other such heals. The Chaos Knights don't have to stick around if they don't want to. Jump the Crossbowmen, jump these Peasant Horsemen, and finish them off. And it's going to kind of devolve into, you know, your classic land battle ending here, where both players are trying to pick off kind of straggling units and cycle charge as much as possible to really milk as much value as possible out of these chosen troops. Peasant Horsemen shatter. The other Jade Warriors are just about holding firm for now, but the Chaos Knights, they can just get out of there. They don't really need to stick in this fight whatsoever. Pull back, wait for your shields to regrow, and then go in once more. Chaos Fury over flying up in the skies is cackling and laughing as the Chaos Furies are pretty beat up now, but they can be used to chase down routing troops or jump on top of the enemy's rear in an attempt to break them when the final engagement does start. But Tzeentch, they're not in a rush. They're quite happy to save up magic at the moment, and they're simply going to rotate their knights up and around and jump these Jade Warriors and force them off. And this is exactly what the players should be doing to try and push that balance of power more and more in their favour. Don't give Cathay any chance of a comeback. Try and destroy their leadership before the final fight does actually kind of start to happen. Now, we do get a lovely, cheeky little Earthblood go down. This is why Miao Ying has gone back into human form, so she can pop this spell. In Dragon form, she loses all the abilities apart from one spell, and now she can transform back into Dragon mode that the healing has been done. Blue fire goes in, looks like it clips Miao Ying, not doing an insane amount of damage. And in come the Knights. Their main priority here is going to be to break the Crossbowmen and then rout them off the battlefield. I love the animations of the Jade Crossbowmen when they go down on their knees to fire the shots. But the Knights are well and truly amongst them. Jade Warrior Halberds attempting their best here. And we do have another Talons coming down. It's going to catch the Knights and do some pretty solid damage to them. It breaks for their shields and does some massive HP work. However, we're getting a big fat regrowth there to attempt to stabilize them. And they're going to fall back once more and just chill out for a little bit. Allow the other units to do a bit more fighting. We get yet another Earthblood go down onto the Halberd units as well as the Crossbowmen, doing a pretty decent job for sure. And now we have Chaos Furies on the approach to try and get a rear attack. I believe they were off just making sure they could shatter as many units as possible. We have some Jade Warriors in the distance, but they got no chance getting to the battlefield. I think Tzeentch is basically what you see is what you get. Another blue fire does come in. It hits now and again, but not doing that much damage realistically there to the mighty Miao Ying. Oh, looks like she's going to transform into Dragon mode, which is pretty cool. Get a nice slow motion animation there as the Furies and Knights just really hit into these Halberds. Are trying their best, but they are outnumbered and surrounded now. And we can see that the mighty Dragon is being formed. But likewise, we have the big beam of death going to be clashing into all these troops. And as this happens, of course, you pull back the Knights. They can now recharge their shields. You sacrifice the Chaos Furies, but hey, it doesn't really matter. And you are smacked down and just annihilate the enemy infantry. Jade Warriors are running for their life to try and save themselves from the bombardment. Jade Warrior crossbowmen a bit too slow. Knights do go back in a little bit early there and take some friendly fire damage. That is enough to break all the Jade Warriors. And Miao Ying now stands basically alone. She is going to get yet another Talons in, though. And she can catch the Knights now. Their shields down. Their kind of pants pulled down. They can do some big damage. Alas, they are able to move out for the most part. One unit is caught partially. Also going to do some big friendly fire damage, unfortunately, to the Jade Warriors. The crossbowmen and the halberds both going to probably be getting shattered from that spell. And now the Chaos Knights, this is what they were born to do. This is what they were bred to do, run down the weak. And with a regrowth on them, they are managing to clatter the Jade Warriors under hoof and drag them down to their murky deaths. Miao Ying, of course, will be able to beat the Fate Weaver in one-to-one combat, but Fate Weaver doesn't have to give them one-to-one combat, and that's obviously part of the trickery of Tzeentch. Allow your Chaos Knights to do the fighting instead. I'm going to fast forward this a little bit here because I believe it's looking like it's basically over. The Knights are just going to bounce back between the halberds and quite comfortably defeat them. There's not too much the halberds can do there. And then we've got to wait for Miao Ying to land, which she will have to do soon because all her units are starting to shatter and break, unfortunately. See the Chaos Knights once again receiving yet another regrowth on them. That was like the third or fourth regrowth we've seen today. And all the ground forces have been broken. That is going to force Miao Ying to land. And there is simply no chance she can take on two pretty healthy units of Chaos Knights in the late game, particularly when supported by Kairos Fate Weaver. She's trying to heart out here. Maybe I'm going to be proven wrong, but I just can't see this realistically being a thing. Look at this. Like, the Knights cycle out, they get their shield starting to recharge, then they slam back in, and you just repeat this over and over again, and Miao Ying cannot do a thing. Very well played. Some good top-tier play there by Mr. Lenormand, as one has come to expect from such a experienced and mighty player. Very talented player in Warhammer 2, and it seems like that has followed over pretty successfully into Warhammer 3. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. It was a good fun time. Big kills on the Chaos Knights there, 163 and 216 kills. I'll delve briefly into key units and their kills and stuff in just a second, but if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a juicy thumbs up, leave a funny comment down below, or also leave, a comment of support or what you'd like to see on the channel in the future and all that good stuff down below. And make sure to subscribe as well, as we're getting dangerously close to the 10,000 mark, which has been a landmark that we've been trying to hit for quite some time. So exciting times ahead when we do hit that, of course. Load of links in the description: Twitch, Patreon, Discord, all the goodies. And yeah, awesome stuff. So well played to these players. I think Tzeentch are probably comfortably the best faction in the game on land battles. I would say better than Ogres, like comfortably in my opinion. In the hands of like top tier tournament players like these guys and Norm and stuff in action, I think they can be really, really disgusting. And Chaos Fate Weaver, though he didn't get the best damage, of course, just the regrowths on the Chaos Knights was really good. 930 value on him. Chaos Knights, 1,000 and 1,500 gold value. Doesn't seem insane considering they used the regrowths, but they were single-handedly, well, alongside those Furies, they probably give them their fair dues. Took out all the damage of Grand Cathay, and they were just left with Jade Warriors, and you can kind of just break them in the latter stages of the battle. Big kills, which I like to see. Forsaken kind of got slaughtered, unfortunately, just due to the pressure of the crossbowmen. Still got some okay kills and helped break down the front. The back was well done, kind of well overrun by Grand Cathay. Some nice aggressive play of the infantry, which is something I'd like to see more Grand Cathay players do. And of course, yeah, Chaos Fury is very nasty against Grand Cathay, shutting down the back. 2.3 kill Miao Ying, very impressive. The Crane Gunners, 81 gold value. Funny enough, that is not enough to pay for themselves. Even the Halberds who were able to fight the Knights Raiders got very little value. Like one unit paying for itself, 855 value on them. 830, 740, 470, and 570 on the crossbone. So looks like the damage for the most part was relatively well spread across the board for Grand Cathay, but no real standouts apart from Miao Ying, unfortunately. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Until next time, peace, peace, and as always, stay awesome.